Whenever I'm evaluating the order of operations using integers, the first thing I look for is a negative in front of parentheses like this right here, because you have to take care of that first. Now, anytime you have a negative in front of parentheses, I don't want you to think of it as subtraction. I want you to think of it as opposite. So I'm going to write down this problem just like it looks for now. But right here, it says the opposite of negative 6. So the opposite of negative 6 is positive 6. Now that you've got that taken care of, I'm going to go through, and any addition or subtraction, I leave it alone. So this right here is multiplication. I'm going to put a box around it. Then I have addition, so leave it alone, put a box around this. Now I figure out each box. Well, I have 4 times negative 5. With multiplication, I use this little trick over here. For multiplication and division with integers, you can use this little diagram here. You cross off what the original problem had. So positive and negative. That means this part is going to be negative. 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, and then we have this box is a 6, and then you bring down the plus sign. So we have a negative 20 plus 6. Okay, if the signs are the same, you find the sum. You add. And I remember that because they all begin with the letter S. If the signs are different, you find the difference. That means you subtract. I remember those because difference and difference look alike. Now, keep the sign of the larger. And I'll explain that in a moment. This is for addition and subtraction of integers. And we've got an addition here. So we've got a negative and a positive. Those signs are different, so I'm going to find the difference. I'm going to subtract. So 20 take away 6. You always do the largest one minus the smallest one. Is 14. Now the 20 is larger. It's negative. So that means your answer is negative. So the final answer for this one is negative 14. Okay, I check to see if I have any negative signs in front of parentheses, and I do not. So that means I go ahead and make my boxes, but any addition or subtraction, this is subtraction right here, leave it alone. Okay, so the 6 is just a 6. On this one, we have a positive number and a negative number. You don't look at the negative sign in front of the 9 because that's the subtraction. So that's negative. That's a negative, and then 9 divided by 3 is 3. Okay, so that's a negative 3. Anytime it's negative, I go ahead and put it in parentheses and bring down this minus sign. Now we have the situation that I was talking about earlier in the other problem. You have a negative in front of a negative, so think of that as opposite. So you got your 6, and then the opposite of negative 3 is positive 3, and 6 plus 3 is 9, so that's your final answer. This is multiplication here. This is subtraction. Addition and subtraction, save it for last. Okay, another rule, besides using the diagram, another rule is one negative will cancel out another whenever you're multiplying. So this cancels out with this, so it's going to be positive. So 3 times 4 is 12, and this box is a 5, and you bring down your minus sign, and 12 minus 5 is 7.